Hey everyone, Brian here from Great Lakes Backpacker, and today what I want to do is just make a short video for you to demonstrate how I plan to seam seal my tarp. And the tarp that I'm talking about in particular is the Superfly from Warbonnet Outdoors, and I was fortunate enough to be able to save up some money and purchase one. It just came in the mail last week, and so before I take it on the trail in a couple weeks here on a backpacking trip, I need to seam seal it. Now, according to the Warbonnet Outdoors website, they actually suggest seam sealing the tarps. And the material the tarp is made out of is SilNylon, so in and of itself the material is waterproof, but the points that they suggest to seam seal are the side panel pulls. And so what I'm going to do in this video is show you how I plan to do it. Now, like I said, the tarp is made out of SilNylon, and what you want to do to seal that type of material is to use some kind of silicone sealant. And there's a couple different types out there. One of them that seems to be fairly popular from my checking around is called SilNet from McNet, and you can buy that at places like REI, Bass Pro Shops. I even found it on Amazon, and for a tube that's about 1.5 ounces, it costs about $7.50. It comes with a little applicator brush. However, I'm not going to use that. I did a lot of looking around on hammock forums, and a couple of the guys who seem to have some experience with this kind of stuff suggested using a different product called a Flowable silicone, which is made by Permatex. And that product looks like this. And essentially what it is, this is the same type of thing, but the guys that I talked to on hammock forums suggested this product because it flows easier. And so what I plan to do is just take my tarp, spread it out in the lawn, and weight it down on the edges, and I'm going to put it so that the inside of the tarp is actually facing up towards the sky. So I'm going to go set that up right now, and we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so I've got my tarp all set up in the backyard here. I've got it weighted down, and what I did was I put the top on here, and I cut the nozzle off about as small as I could make it, and now I'm just going to apply the silicone to the seams. And again, this surface here, it would normally be on the inside where your hammock is, so this is now actually facing the sky. It'll make it easier for me to get to it. So I'll just take this and put a little bit on here. And the guys on the hammock forum said this stuff flows a little easier and it's easier to work with. So they said just put some on there, rub it around with your fingers, that'll help seal it up. Okay, we're almost done here. And in the time it's taken me to do all this, the sun has kind of disappeared and the wind is picking up. We're due for some rain here in a little while, so what I may actually do is just take this in the house and finish up the rest of it. But you guys get the idea. You just kind of want to cover all the places where the stitching came through to attach the pullouts to the tarp, because that's where you're going to have problems with water leaking through if it rains. So with that being said, I think I'm going to shut the camera off, and I'll show you the finished product when everything's all said and done and it's all dried. Okay, so as you can see, we are no longer in my backyard. It was about the time that I started on the second pull out there. The sky started getting really dark, the wind kicked up even more. It was blowing the tarp around, so I decided it was time to move inside. So I took it downstairs, I seam sealed the rest of that stuff over there, and I let it sit for about 4 hours so it kind of became tacky and wasn't very runny anymore. And now I've got it hanging in the garage. I'm going to let it hang here overnight to finish curing and dry out completely. Okay, it's been several hours now since I put my last coat of silicone on the last pullout, and as you can tell, it's actually dry to the touch now. It's not runny anymore. There's actually nothing coming off of my fingers, so it's dry enough to handle. And the one thing I wish I had done ahead of time that I didn't do, and you guys get the benefit of my mistake now, is I wish I would have used some kind of masking tape or maybe like a painter's tape. And what that would have allowed me to do is actually lay down tape around the perimeter of the area that I wanted to seal. And what that would have allowed me to do is probably work a little bit quicker, because with the tape here in place I probably could have just put the stuff on and sealed it all over without having to worry about being extra careful on the edges. It really doesn't affect the way it's going to function or how well it's going to keep the water out, but it would have been a little more aesthetically pleasing if I hadn't gotten a seam sealer on the tarp. And actually I didn't really do too bad. There's only a little bit here, and on the other 3 pullouts there's only a couple spots where I got a little bit on there, so I'm not really all that concerned about it, but it would have made it look a little bit nicer, and like I said, it probably would have allowed me to work a little bit more quickly, but it is what it is. The second thing that I notice now is that it is dry, but it's a little bit tacky to the touch, and it's not tacky enough to where it adheres to the rest of the tarp, but I just think if it stays tacky like this, it's going to collect dust and grime and dirt a little easier, and I don't know what the long-term effect of that is if I have my tarp all rolled up in my pack for hours and hours on end. So I did some checking in the hammock forums, and what I found was seems like there's quite a few people who have problems like that, and what they suggest is to use a little bit of either baby powder, talcum powder, or even like cornstarch, and simply just sprinkle a little bit on, and when you're done you kind of shake off the excess, and what that does is it kind of gets rid of the tacky feeling, so you're not going to collect anything that you really don't want. So that was another nice idea that I found out about afterwards. Now with that being said, I've got a little container here of baby powder, and so I'm just going to do that and demonstrate for you. So it sounds like really all you have to do is kind of sprinkle some on here, and I'll put a little bit more on here, and then probably what I'll do here is just kind of rub it around with my finger, get it all over the area that was sealed, and that should take care of the problem of the tackiness. And it obviously you guys can't feel it through the video, but this is slick now, so there is nothing left on here that's tacky. So I'll just take this outside. When I get them all done, I'll shake it off. If there's anything residual left on here, I'll take a washcloth or something and rinse it off, wipe it down, and it should be good as new. So there you go. Okay, that's how you seam seal the Warbonnet Superfly tarp. Hopefully that helped you out a little bit. Thanks for watching.